The sun of April warmed my new porch while I placed a shiny matte black smart lock on my front door at 327 Maple Grove Lane. Having spent 15 years in Chicago's concrete jungle, IDR Marcus Bennett, a 40-year-old professor of constitutional law at Ellison University, had finally acquired my piece of suburban nirvana in the trendy Crestwood Pines development. The colonial house with its red bricks and white shutters was my dream come true. After a decade of saving, I was securing a screw when a harsh throat clearing snapped me to attention. "What are you doing to that door?" A blonde, 60-year-old woman with a perfect bob stood on my porch, arms folded holding a clipboard like a scepter. Her navy blazer shouted authority, her lips a thin line of disapproval. "Good morning," I said, rubbing my hands on my jeans. "I'm Marcus Bennett, the new owner, just replacing the lock." Her eyes ran over cold and probing. "I'm Patricia Langley, president of the Crestwood Pines Homeowners Association," she stated, as if pronouncing a royal title, nodding towards my lock with disdain. She continued, "That's not an approved style." I blinked. "Excuse me. All exterior hardware is to be brass or antique bronze per section. 7 paragraph 3 of the HOA covenant, black is not allowed." She jabbed her clipboard at me. Turning to a highlighted page with practiced care, I took a breath, maintaining calm. "Mrs. Langley." I went over the covenant prior to purchasing. It addresses mailboxes and house numbers, but not lock colors. Her laugh grated like metal on stone. "It's in there. We maintain aesthetic standards here." "It's a lock," I said, "and not a neon sign." "Rules are rules, Dr. Bennett," she snapped, interrupting my correction. "Doctor of what constitutional law?" A flicker of disbelief perhaps crossed her face before she recovered. "Remove it today, or I'll suggest a compliant locksmith." I smiled strictly. "I'll go over the regulations." "Good day, 24 hours, or you'll receive a violation notice," she declared, heels clicking as she strode away, jotting down notes on her clipboard. I saw her stalk over to the next house, oblivious this minor confrontation over a lock would trigger a war that would rock Crestwood Pines to its foundations. That evening I searched the HOA covenant. No citing of lock colors, only mailboxes, brass house numbers, bronze or brass, and ridiculous regulations such as no inflatable sand is more than 6 feet. I slept self-satisfied one at 7:30 a.m. Sunday banging at my door awakened me. Patricia there, spotless given the hour, with a Dow man in tow. "Good morning." "Dr. Bennett," she cooped venom underneath the sugar. "This is Edward Carson, HOA Vice President. We're here regarding your violation." Edward Balding, with a golfer's tan, nodded grimly. "That black lock's got to leave, son." I folded my arms. "The covenant doesn't mention locks." Patricia's smile didn't waver. "It's a matter of aesthetic discretion. That's vague and unenforceable." I retorted anyway. She insisted nonetheless. "You have 72 hours, or it's $100 fines per day." Edward shook his head. "Don't make this more complicated. Is this normal for new homeowners, or am I special?" I asked, glowering at Patricia. Her smile wavered. "We treat all people equally. Rules are rules." I closed the door, heart racing. This was not a lock. It was about me. By Wednesday, a crisp violation notice, $100 fine, $100 daily, slid under my door. Thursday, a red final warning was taped on. I snapped photos, building my case. That evening, grading papers, I heard a car outside, peeking through blinds. I saw a police cruiser. My stomach sank. Patricia was on my lawn, gesturing wildly at 2 uneasy officers. I stepped out. Calm. "Evening, officers. Can I assist you?" The female officer, hair in a tight bun, appeared relieved. "We received a call about a disturbance." "Disturbance?" I said. "I've been grading papers." "He's lying," Patricia shrieked. "He was drilling again, going against warnings." The older male officer sighed. "Ma'am, drilling's not a police matter. It's defacement." She insisted. I raised an eyebrow. "You called 911 over my lock. You're hostile, threatening." She spat. The officers eyed my glasses and button-up, unconvinced. "Ma'am," the female officer asserted, "HOA matters are not criminal. Don't call 911 for this." Patricia's face reened. This neighborhood's deteriorating since his arrival. The air grew heavy with her inference. The officer bristled. We're finished, the male officer stated. Dr. Bennett, have you threatened her? Never, I answered. Two courteous dialogues, both of which concluded with my closing my door. He nodded. Mrs. Langley, go home. She stormed away, digging my lawn with her heels. The female officer apologized. We see this too often. Nice lock, the male officer added. Thinking of getting one, I smiled, but as they left, I knew this was bigger than Patricia's prejudice. Friday, I worked from home digging. I called the previous owners, a Latino couple now in Florida. We had a black knocker for years. Mrs. Rivera said no issues, but we weren't, My suspicions grew. At the county records office, I requested 5 years of HOA. Financials unusual. The clerk said homeowners should get those directly. I doubt they'll share. I replied. Next, I chatted with neighbors. Most were KG, but Clarence Moore, an 82-year-old across the street, invited me for coffee. Been waiting for someone to take on that woman, he said, pouring a strong cup. She runs this place like her FFT. Calling cops over a lock seems extreme, I said. Clarence's eyes gleamed. It's not the lock, son. She's pushed out undesirables for years. Indian physicians, a Latino couple. Last year, the Patel's gnomes were unapproved. Prior to that, the Manaz's lights were excessive and there's money missing. I was treasurer until I inquired about contracts to her son's firm. Got voted out in a secret meeting. He handed me a folder filled with invoices, bank statements, minutes. It's all there. I accepted it, feeling its weight. This could get ugly, Clarence. He grinned. I fought in Vietnam. I ain't afraid of Patricia Langley. I went over his papers, identifying payments to Langley Property Services belonging to Patricia's son, Brian, and Crestwood Consulting attached to Edward's daughter, Laura Classic, self-D'ing probably illegal. Monday, I went to the HOA office locked, despite listed hours. Knocking, I noticed a backroom light. A harried assistant Sarah let me in. I need the previous year's finances. I said Mrs. Langley manages them. She stuttered. As a homeowner, I'm eligible. Article 4, Section 2. Edward appeared annoyed. Those are for quarterly sessions. The covenant stipulates upon demand, I retorted. As treasurer, you ought to have them. His face turned red. How do you know I am treasurer? I know who manages my money. I would also like contracts for Langley Property Services and Crestwood Consulting. His face paled. Who have you been speaking to? Simply curious where my fees go. I told him. He pushed a form at me. File a request. Good day, Sarah whispered. They've been holding secret meetings ever since the budget vote. When's the next one? Tomorrow, 7 p.m., Clubhouse. I filled out the form, smiling. I'll be there. At Tuesday's board meeting, I wore my courtroom suit showing up. The crowded clubhouse hummed. Word of my showdown with Edward had spread. Clarence reserved a front row seat. Blood in the water. He chuckled. Patricia in a red blazer stuttered when she saw me. Edward's treasurer report was evasive. $48,700 operating balance, 1.2 million reserves. I raised my hand. I have a financial question. Patricia's smile was ice questions at the end. It's relevant now, I pressed. Murmurs agreed. She relented. I questioned holding $487,000 in operating funds over 7 months' expenses far above the 3 to 6 month standard. Why Edward squirmed. For unexpected costs, $500,000 worth. I pressed. Patricia cut in. Our finances are professionally reviewed. Then explain the $200,000 to Langley Property Services and Crestwood Consulting. Your son and Edward's daughter running their business from this office with no other customers. Gasps were heard. A woman stood. Is that true? Patricia unsubstantiated claims. She snapped. I held up my folder. I have corporate records and payments. Happy to share. Edward stuttered. You have no right. State law prohibits self-D'ing without disclosure or bidding. I said. Bedlam erupted. Residents yelling, Patricia pounding her gavel. Meeting adjourned. She yelled, You can't adjourn with a motion pending. I yelled, I move for an independent 5-year audit results. Public seconded. Clarence bellowed. Hand shot up. Patricia sat. Fine motion passes. She walked out that we're lagging. Sarah grabbed me by my car. They shredded documents after you left yesterday. Hours of it. What kind invoices minutes? Would you write that down? She nodded. I'm tired of this, you're bold. I said, I made copies of some files before they shredded them. I'll get them tomorrow. At home, my door was ajar. My heart beating. I walked in. Nothing taken but my files. Clearance papers. My notes were dispersed. A type note on top. Back off, or else. Anger turned to rage. I reported the police, improved my cameras, and backed everything up online. Sarah's USB came with disclosures of emails harassing the Lopez family into selling. Apply the same pressure to Bennett, Patricia wrote. Edward responded, escalating to fines per day. Then Phase 2 Thursday, a notice referenced my illegal marriages. Then I discovered tire tracks on my grass security footage, depicted Brian Langley's SUV at 2:17 a.m. I reported it to the police on a form. This is fraud, the cop replied, flagging it. A tip was made anonymously, warning, drop the audit or things worsen. I reported it, then drove to the state attorney general's office with my dossier. Clarence's documents, Sarah's duplicates, police reports. Attorney General Aisha Khan examined it. Impressed. This is concerted fraud. Our white-collar crime division will investigate, potentially serving a cease and desist for harassment. Relief hit, but home brought another notice. My cameras were unaesthetic. Then Sarah called, terrified. They're following me. Edward asked me if I had missing files. I met her at a coffee shop, I told the AG. I said, it's not just us now. She'd stay with her sister that night. My door was spray-painted. Snitch. Another police report, I filed a county complaint for fraud, harassment, and civil rights violations, attaching evidence of minority targeting. A judge issued a restraining order against Patricia and Edward. Then I sent my dossier to news outlets, presenting it as corruption and discrimination. By evening, TV hyped an HOA scandal. The next day's headline, Professor exposes fraud at exclusive HOA Crestwood Pines. Exploded. Reporters descended. Residents came forward. My phone rang incessantly. News vans parked at the HOA office. Patricia disappeared. Attorney General Khan called, half laughing. Your prank elicited tips from former residents. We're serving search warrants on the board members and office homes, freezing accounts. Agents stormed into Patricia's house, hauling boxes. She glared from her porch, seething with hatred. I walked on. Tyler Langley called, angry. You messed up my mom. She wanted this. I told, your SUV on my lawn tells you did too. He stuttered. It wasn't supposed to go this far. Cooperate, I commanded. Give back the money. He hung up. The AG's findings stunned. 1.5 million misappropriated, along with a campaign against minority homeowners. At a packed town hall, Khan detailed charges a receiver would oversee. The HOA Clarence demanded, what's next? A new board election loaned. Lucia Lopez pushed out, asked about pay. Civil damages are possible. Kant said Marcus Taylor, whose black family fled, thanked me. You battled when most wouldn't. 6 months later, Crestwood Pines changed Patricia Edward, and others pleaded guilty to fraud, facing fines, probation. Patricia received a suspended sentence. A restitution plan paid back money. I assisted in drafting open bylaws, but missed the board race. Election day hummed at the clubhouse. Clarence poll monitor winked. Folks care. Now I recommended him to the ethics committee. I'm outspoken, he admonished, perfect. I said Sarah back at the office broke news. The AG investigated 3 more. HOAs connected to Patricia's scheme. Driving by Patricia's for sale house, I noticed new families, diverse. Welcomed, a couple waved, your Dr. Bennett. Right. Thanks to you, we belong here. Their words lingered. My lock, a small defiance, had unlocked. Justice, fairness, a community reborn.